Hey Branson, hey Rachel, how y'all doing?
Doing fine. How about yourself?
So far, so good. No complaints here.
Hi, Bradson. Hi, Dennis.
Hey, how y'all doing? Is that Dan?
Oh, yeah.
All
Hey,
right.
Dan, how you doing?
Doing great. How's everybody today?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Are
The
you ever-
camera's not working for some reason. I think you want to restart the computer.
Yeah, we're going to try a computer restart. We'll be right back.
Okay. I wonder if they ever call him Dan the Man. I'll have to ask him.
I know a couple guys. We work with a guy named Dan the Man.
Yeah, it's a great name. I've always liked that. I've not known that many Dans in my life.
Ironically, he was the computer fix-it guy at US Cellular, and his name was Dan the Man.
That's so funny. Was he real good?
Yeah, they would basically used to say if Dan the Man can't fix it, nobody can.
Oh
So,
God,
like,
that's
if
hysterical.
something went down, we took it to Dan the Man, and by the end, when I left, he was breaking down iPhones to like the circuit board and putting them back together.
Oh my gosh, isn't that crazy?
Uh,
Yeah. So I was somewhere God, there's such a flood of information. I don't even know where the hell it comes from, but there's somehow I saw an article about a breakdown of the new 24-inch iMac they just released.
mm,
And they said basically there's nothing there. They took the cover off it, and the majority of it is just open space. There's just a few little parts that are, tiny. And it's not as wide as two iPhones on top of each other. So it's very, very narrow. In fact, to do a headphone jack, they had to put it in sideways because it wasn't deep enough to put a headphone jack in from the back.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's I forget how much it weighs, but I think it weighs maybe about the same as a laptop or something like that. I don't know. He said there's really no reason why, other than breaking it. You can move it easily. It's not a problem in the slightest. So there you
So
go.
that means they went back to the Apple chip with no Intel chip. It's basically the
Yeah.
chip that's in the tablets.
Yeah, same one as yep, the M1, I think they call it. Yep. So I'm gonna turn my music off here. Yeah, so I don't know, I've got a Mac Mini that has the M1 in it, and
Do you
it's,
like it?
yeah, I mean, I've had Apples for a long time. The last one I had was a 27-inch iMac, probably about 2013-ish or so. And this is, and I had 32 gigs of RAM and, all kinds of stuff on it. And this is way faster. There's no comparison as far as dealing with video and stuff like that. I think if I had gotten the 16 gigs of RAM, that probably would have been a little bit better, but I really cannot believe how fast this thing is. And I think I paid like $550, some small number like that for it. And I had a monitor and keyboard, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I was shocked. It works really well. It doesn't have a fan. It doesn't make a sound. It doesn't get hot. It's tiny. I have it actually sideways in a little, I don't know what you call it, rack or something. And it just doesn't take up any room at all. Pretty amazing.
Mm.
There they are.
Hi.
All right. All right. We were just talking about Dan the Man. Apparently there was a guy, Branson was just telling me about a guy at T-Mobile, or one of the local mobile phone guys, and he did all the repairs, and he was called Dan the Man. And the word was, if Dan the Man couldn't fix it, it can't be fixed. So
My legacy spreads.
yeah. I'm the opposite. I can't fix it, and I need Dan the Man is normally my case. But
I'm the
I don't know.
100% the beta tester for all our programs. They'll be like, oh, it's working. Let's give it to Rachel, and I will break it or find whatever is not working.
It's amazing. 5 seconds flat. When the programmers know she's coming into the meeting, they just kind of hang their heads.
Yeah, they already know. That's funny. Well, you got to learn some little terminology to throw at them just to really bust them, and tell them you looked at their code on GitHub and you saw some commas in the wrong spot. And that will cause some, I think you might have had too many commas or maybe too many exclamation points on your code there in about the 3,000th line, I think.
Yeah, nothing like an extra comma to take down about 5 years of work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's really, really funny. Have you heard about all this new no code stuff that's going around?
Boy, years ago, back when I was in Dallas, we worked with a Russian programming team that was kind of the start of that concept.
Yeah.
And he was so far ahead of his technology at the time, it was scary. But of course, over there, the education is pretty much free. Everybody over there is in college. It was interesting to work with them.
Yeah, I'll bet. There's one program I hear a lot about. It's called Bubble. And Bubble is a no-code platform. But it's really interesting. I haven't really had the time or patience to really sit down and actually try to build something using one of those. But I will at some point this summer try to pick one and see if I can figure something out. It's I think it particularly for designing. maybe an app or something very specific with a kind of set of, restricted set of capabilities. It seems like that might make sense. I don't know, but we'll.
It's a good fit for the 80%. The minute you want that one custom feature, you're kind of cratered.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I think in the case of Bubble, and I'm not sure that all of the different ones that are out there, but I think there's like they have a universe of people who will help you, ecosystem or whatever, that where you can get that kind of help. So, kind of cool. All right. Hey, everybody. Michelle, David, how y'all doing today?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I see my friend Maria on here. Hey, Maria. Glad to have you. All right. We even have a food processing plant that's just joined the meeting. I'm impressed. I never seen that before. That's pretty cool. Hello. Are you a food processing center?
Yes, I am. I'll
Okay,
change my name so here we go.
Okay. No problem. I was impressed that we had that. And Maria is with the Northeast Alliance, and she's writing a story about us, we hope, maybe, kind of, sort of. So she's listening in today to kind of see what we're up to. So welcome everybody. And I hope our speaker can find the link. I better reach out to him and see what's going on, because he's normally ahead of time here. Let's see. Of course, I don't have his phone number. Unbelievable. Amazing. Oh, there we go. Okay. Excuse me for just 1 second. That's not the right number. Hi, Gene. Dennis Strotz, how are you?
Good. I'm dialing in right now.
Okay, good. Just making sure you were able to find the link. Okay, take care. Bye. Yay. Oh, sorry about that. I never know what you all can see on my screen. It's always things popping up, and I'm like, oh no, oh no. So Gene will be coming on here in a minute. I posted his bio on the Slack channel, so you can see it. Gene has I met Gene through my days at James Madison University, even though he is a Penn State guy. He did work with some of the entrepreneurs that we had, out of JMU. There we go. Here he is. Hi, Gene. Hi, Gene. How are you?
Hello.
All right. Let me get you as co-host so you can share the screen and do all that kind of stuff. Hopefully that worked. Are you able to, Gene? Can you, as best you can tell, the controls there?
Yeah, I'm here. Dennis, I'll let you share my document if you could.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. That way people don't have to look at my ugly face, right? There we go. Can everybody see that okay?
It's a little blurry. Oh, no, it's good now.
Yeah. You got to get a fast computer, Gene. Us people here in the country, we know how to do it, right?
That's right.
Well, welcome everybody, and welcome Gene to our class. This is going to be a lot of fun. I have to say this, and it'll embarrass Gene, although I have a feeling it won't. But, you know, I work with a lot of guest speakers and different people, as you all know. And so it's always interesting to me how different speakers kind of approach something like this, especially since we're all virtual now. And I have to say, of everyone that I've worked with this year, Gene wins the award for preparation. He did all kinds of work up front, you know, making sure that the technology worked and sending relevant material. And so I just want to pass on to you that if this falls flat, it will not be Gene's fault. It'll be my fault because he did a thorough job. So I'm going to launch it off. So Gene is an old friend, as I mentioned when I was at JMU. Gene worked with several entrepreneurs from JMU, even though he's a Nittany Lion, a Penn State guy. You know, he's had a very successful career picking companies to back. He's been an operator, he's been CEO, he's run a number of companies, exited, which is a fancy word for selling, exiting. So I think you can see on your screen, you can see the agenda that we're going to go through. So I think we're all going to learn a lot. And with that, I will introduce and hand it over to Gene. So there you go, Gene.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's great to see all of you. And I'm flattered to be invited to speak to you today. I'm going to share some thoughts about how you can work with from Carolina, meet people all over the world, and some ideas on e-commerce that I've learned along the way. I'll talk for a bit, but I'll definitely leave some time at the end for Q&A, and look forward to getting your questions. I'm going to talk about some lessons from the pandemic, but mostly I'm going to talk about branding your business and about some things I've learned along the way that hopefully you can pick some things out of this that you can put to work in your business. So, you know, the big lessons out of the pandemic are, you know, however flat we thought the world was, it's a lot flatter than we thought. That, you know, you can work anywhere, you can sell anywhere, and this creates opportunities for you. So as we think about this, you know, I'm going to focus today on, you know, there's branded products and services, and there's commodities, and we're going to focus today really on branded products and services. I'm going to assume that for all or most of you, the things that you are selling are in some manner or other branded or are specialized in some way, as opposed to just a commodity that what you are selling is replaceable by somebody else and has no unique value. I'm going to assume that what you sell has some unique value to your consumers. So in focusing on branding, I'm going to bet that all or most of you has some unique personal story where your product does. And if you haven't done it already, I really would encourage you to think about developing some interesting perspective, some personal story to it. It could be about you, it could be about your community, it could be about the region, and really think about trying to turn that into a 25 to 100 word story. It might even be fewer words than that. It might have photos, it might have some artwork, it might have just some simple way of telling a story that can be retained and simple for people to keep in mind, some simple message that people can retain and want to stay in touch with your business. And you can test and refine this message later, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. The other thing I want you to keep in mind is, you know, your businesses are, for the most part, smaller businesses. Nobody knows that, and you don't have to tell them that unless you want to. Your businesses can be small businesses, they can be friendly, they can be personal, but you don't have to tell them they're a small business unless you want to. An artist who only sells their own output of artwork, that's inherently a small business, and you may choose to represent it that way. But for many of you, you may not want to choose to represent your business as small. And there's no wrong answer here. But recognize that almost any business, you know, IBM in its heyday, always tried to create an aura that it was bigger than it really was. So many businesses create an aura that they're bigger than they really are. So you should not be shy about doing the same if you choose to. And it's not that hard to do. So don't be shy about creating a larger image. You don't have to, you can create a brand that is friendly and personable and emphasizes where you're from and your community, your region, your personal story. But that doesn't mean that you're small, even if you are a small business. So just think about what you want outsiders to know, whatever you're selling, whether it's, whatever kind of product or service you're selling. If God forbid someday you have more demand than you can possibly fulfill, well, then you'll have to solve that problem, and maybe you'll just be turning away business. But if you get to that place, that's maybe that's a good thing. So we'll figure out how to deal with it then. In dealing with finding customers, so that you potentially wind up with that problem of too many customers and that you can't service, and maybe you will actually be able to service. I don't know how many of you have gone to, you probably have built a website, but maybe you haven't gone to Google AdWords and Facebook advertising. These are great tools. And I think a lot of people are intimidated by this. These are actually very easy to use. And I put links at the end of this document, and Dennis will share this with you, this document I have in front of you with you through your Slack channel. But these are very easy to use and very low cost. As I said, there's links at the end. They're easy to experiment with, literally for very, very low numbers of dollars. You can go in and experiment with targeting for finding people who are likely to buy your product or service. And you can keep testing and refining to find people who are likely to buy your product. And then once you hit on a formula that people with a certain set of attributes are likely to buy your product, then each of them have processes where basically you say, give me more of those, and they will. And they're remarkably efficient at that. And I think if you do this, you can start using custom landing pages. And if you don't have experience with that, on your website, I would recommend you figure out how to set up custom landing pages. And I'll give you an example of how to use that later. But those custom, doing that kind of targeting and refining the message and doing custom landing pages can really help you find customers. And you can wind up with a bunch of custom landing pages and just keep refining it. And then when you do this, you can keep doing testing. And if you scroll down there, Dennis, when I talk about testing in number 6, if you're not familiar with A/B testing, what this basically is, it's a simple concept. If you have, if you know of 100, let's make this example simple. If you know of 100 users or potential prospects, come up with a message and come up with 2 messages. Send one message to 50 and send the other message to the other 50, and measure the responses. 10 out of the first 50 responded, and 5 out of the second 50 responded. Well, first message worked better. And you constantly keep testing that message. And this is how you can develop a brand. When you develop a brand, I would recommend you test it on your friends, your family, then test it on some other people, and then start doing some more scientific testing. Test it with this A/B testing on others, that you might know, or test on others in this manner, and digital testing, and just constantly keep testing messages. One of the things that I've learned over and over again is that my ability, and frankly, any marketing person's ability to predict what ad works with what audience is terrible. I talked to somebody who's in the political ad campaign business, and they have come to the conclusion that they're very good at designing ads and terrible about predicting what ad will affect what audience. So they'll design a bunch of ads, and then they always do these A/B tests, and they're astonished at how bad they are. You know, and they've been in this business for 30 years, how bad they are about predicting which ad affects which audience. The ads are inevitably effective, but they'll think that an ad is good for 30-year-old single women, and it winds up being better for 50-year-old moms and so on. The next point I wanted to make, I have, just through personal experience, been seeing so many websites where over time the usability just deteriorates. And I cannot recommend enough that you constantly look at the usability of your website, and maybe more importantly, get somebody else to look at it. And the usability usually deteriorates because you keep adding things to it. I got another product, or I changed who my credit card processor is, or I added another link, or I had somebody write some new material or something like that. And over time, things just don't work as well. There's a link that is broken, and it just gets confusing. So, you got a customer to your website, they get interested in something, don't frustrate them. Make it easy to do business with you. I've seen too many examples of people who lose customers at that point, and if you've got anything in there that creates friction, well, we don't take this credit card, we take that one, or make sure you call us if when somebody doesn't really want to call you, or your return, your rules for returns are difficult. Don't make it hard to do business with you. And the last point is read reviews, read your reviews. You may not like them, but they're telling you something. Other people are reading your reviews. If you don't know what they mean, if you don't know what they say, you better know what they say, because other people care about them. And I recognize that reviews are sometimes unfair. They're written by somebody whose opinion shouldn't matter, but they're there. The next several points are pretty odd ideas, and I recognize that. They don't all apply to everybody, but let me talk through them. These all are ideas that have worked for somebody, and they're all out of the box ideas. The first one is, how can you benefit from a brand that somebody else has built? So the first one is, if somebody else has built a brand, maybe you can benefit by paying a fee and being a sponsor. Somebody else is running an event, and they're going to allow people to pay a fee and be a sponsor of it. This gets pretty expensive usually, so you may not want to do it, but I just wanted to raise the idea for your consideration. Now, the real world is it's a lot of risk. You put up money and you don't know if you're ever going to make a penny off of it. But there's a completely different way to go about this, and that is to use that event as a Google AdWord or a targeted Facebook ad. And you don't have to pay a fee for this other than the modest cost of the AdWord or the Facebook ad. So you put in an event, and the example I use here is, you're selling peanuts. Peanuts are a popular snack at a baseball game. Well, you could sell peanuts to watch a baseball game, but at home. So you put in Yankees, find people who are Yankees fans, but you sell them Yankees peanuts to watch baseball at home. Maybe you put in a little extra effort, put in Yankees packaging. Just do local print job, somebody I'm sure in your hometown can do some printing and put in, put a extra wrapper on your peanut packaging and ship Yankees peanuts to people in New York who want to watch their Yankees game. Or Red Sox in Boston or so on. And, this is just an experiment. I don't know if it'll work, but, have some fun with it. And you can do some experiments, and I would create a separate landing page, have a photo of your Yankees or Red Sox peanuts, and you advertise great fresh peanuts available for watching Yankees games. Will it work? I don't know. Let's find out. But this is a way to try something completely different. You're in effect writing on somebody else's brand name without paying them for it. Now, the real world is that Major League Baseball and all their teams have copyright names. So you gotta be a little bit careful about how you use that name and logo. So, recognize that. But this is an opportunity for you to, participate in the branding that somebody else has built. And you can think of a million events that go on. There may be festivals in your region that you could sell, attract somebody to your restaurant before they attend the evening event in your region, things like that.
Gene, one thing that strikes me about this, we have a really large craft brewing industry in North Carolina. There's hundreds and hundreds of these craft brewers. So I could see we talked about this the other day about partnering with others, but I could see where you partner, your peanuts go with so-and-so beer, IPA or
Yeah.
And those guys are always looking for promotional stuff. I know a lot of them. So this is great stuff. Thanks, Gene.
Yeah. It's that sort of leads into my my next one, which is, if you can build a relationship with your market by Zoom, one of the things that people figured out how to do was have wine tastings by Zoom. And but you can do the same thing with beer. Or if you sell a food product, partner with a beer or wine company, and you get if you develop a list of people, promote a beer tasting or wine tasting or a beer. In this example, we're gonna have a beer and peanut tasting. We're gonna ship you 3 beers and plus peanuts. And we're going to have the brewmaster on Zoom, and we're going to talk you through how we make these 3 different beers. And we're going to have some peanuts to go with you to encourage your thirst. And, that kind of stuff can be a lot of fun. And there's a couple different ways to promote it. One is, just a bunch of random people could be on the Zoom call, but also you can create it as a party, 25 people are going to get together. You can promote as, you got relatives all over the country. We'll bring them together on a Zoom call, and we're going to have a beer tasting for the first 45 minutes of the Zoom call. And we will take care of shipping the beer and the peanuts to all of your relatives all over the country, or all of your college classmates who are getting together for a reunion, but they can't see each other together, because of travel issues. So, this is something you can market to people as, you don't have to get, this is a way for you to build a customer list where all you got to do is get one person to say, I will round up 30 of my college or high school classmates. We'll have a reunion, but without us all having to travel, and we'll all buy your beer and we'll all get together and have beer and peanuts together. So, and because, forgetting a pandemic, it's just hard to get 30 people together. So, I completely agree with Dennis. It's partnering with others to have an event, do a food and wine pairing, food and beer pairing. Another thing I've seen done is to do a virtual art gallery. An artist can share their art, and you can serve food and wine with it, food and beer with it. And you ship the wine and food or beer and food beforehand. So that's another fun thing to do.
Yeah, we could even have pecans, Karen, right?
There you go.
Karen has a big pecan farm and ranch.
I like pecans. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another idea I've seen done, I knew a biotech company, sort of a lower tech biotech company. They were stuck with a lot of inventory. So they used the inventory as sort of free starter kits. They identified a lot of prospects might someday buy some of their equipment, and they gave a bunch of stuff away to create prospects that might buy the stuff that would actually be valuable. But if you've got a warehouse full of stuff that you can't sell, and realistically people aren't going to buy, maybe you can turn that into something you can give away. It's not doing you any good sitting on the shelves. Do you have something that you could give away to create a starter kit to get people to buy your stuff? So that's something else to think about. The next one I had was another thing I've seen done is if you've got people in other cities that might be retailers or distributors for you, is buy them lunch. You don't have to go there. Have a virtual lunch. Get a Uber Eats certificate or something like that. Send them an email saying, I want to take you out to lunch, except it's going to be at your desk. We're going to do it by Zoom. All I need is 30 minutes of your time. I'm buying you lunch. Neither of us are going anywhere. You're going to have lunch anyway. So, and they'll have a good laugh about it. You get them on the line, you have a laugh about it. They're eating, you're eating. And, I've seen it to be a very effective way of getting a meeting with somebody who won't otherwise agree to a meeting because they think it's kind of cute. They think it's kind of funny. And now you're getting 30 minutes of somebody's time that you haven't been able to get their time. And you sort of joke about, you're having lunch with somebody that in an odd way that you haven't been able to get their attention, and you can get down to business after 5 minutes of thinking about how weird this is. But it's a good way to get a meeting.
Use a napkin.
That's right. It could be a little gross, but so what? And then the last one I was going to suggest is sometimes companies have a really happy set of customers, but you've sold them everything you can sell them. You've got a product and maybe they buy the same product every 90 days or once a year or whatever. You don't have anything else to sell to them, but they're happy customers. Well, maybe there's something else you can sell to them. Often companies are channel rich and product poor, or vice versa. Well, maybe you've got a lot of happy customers, you just don't have anything else to sell to them. Maybe you can think about what else is a credible product to sell to the same people, and go find somebody else who has products but no way to get to customers, and sell that product to them and get a commission for it. So think about that. If you're if you're a successful pecan distributor, maybe you can sell other types of nuts to them, even though you don't produce those, as one example. And do it in a way that doesn't cannibalize your business.
You know what I've seen, Gene, a lot in this space is people who want to consider selling branded merchandise is really popular with certain consumer brands, whether it's T-shirts or hats with your logo on it, or perhaps that Got to Be NC campaign from the Department of Agriculture. Something that gives you another chance to interact and make some revenue from something that people would actually appreciate and value.
Absolutely. And so there are other things that you can acquire directly, or be a channel for some other company that wants to get to your customers. You want to check it out. You want to make sure you're representing somebody that's going to serve your customers well. But it's definitely a choice there. So those are some ideas. I would be happy to take some questions, bounce ideas around, and see what you all think.
Well, Gene, thank you. First of all, this is very, very creative and very, very helpful. We actually just had a class on partnering with others, but I wasn't smart enough to do all these great suggestions. So this is really, really helpful, and I really appreciate it.
Sure.
So we'll open it up to the group, and please feel free to ask questions. It doesn't have to be just on these items. It can also be if you have other questions on your mind that you think Gene might be helpful with, related maybe to fundraising or anything like that. So please feel free.
Hello, Gene. My name is Quandale Chanel, Freedom Hill brand. Could you retouch? You probably went back to it. I may have missed it. You talked about setting up custom landing pages.
Sure.
Could you reflect on that once again?
Sure thing. So do you have a website set up?
Yes, freedomhillbrand.com.
Great. So if you on a website, sometimes some companies will set up a special page that is effectively invisible to the rest of their website sometimes. That, if you were to go to the regular homepage on the website, you might not be able to find this page. Let's use my Yankees peanuts example.
Mm-hmm.
You might have a let's suppose you sell peanuts, and you go to that, and you have a variety of peanuts branded as, we'll call it Freedom Hill peanuts. But for this one promotion, you created a Yankees branded peanuts. So let's just make my example simple. When you ran a Facebook ad targeting people who seem to be interested in Yankees based on hitting, it ran ads for, buy peanuts when you watch Yankees games at home. And they clicked through, they landed on a page that had a can or a bag of peanuts that had a reference to the Yankees on it. And when they clicked on that to buy, maybe it went to your same fulfillment page, type in your name and address and credit card number and so on. So maybe it was the same fulfillment page, but somebody who started out on your homepage, they would have never found that Yankees page. It was on your website, but invisible. There's no place to get. There was no link to it from elsewhere on the website. But from the Yankees page, there was a link to the fulfillment page with the shipping address and all that stuff on it.
Gotcha.
So that's what I mean by a custom landing page. And imagine, you can blow that up to, there's one for every baseball team or one for every whatever. And there's a lot of websites that have, if you find the homepage, it looks like there's 8 pages, but underneath there's 50 pages you can't find because they are unique landing pages for unique advertising campaigns.
Yeah, we also we can help you all. The interns can do these landing pages for you guys that we have on staff. This is easy for them to do, particularly Marco. He can do this really easily, especially if you have a Shopify site.
Awesome.
Okay.
And one of the advantages of doing things this way is it's really easy to track. I spent $75 on my Yankees campaign, and I had, so many people come to the site, and I sold 80 bags of peanuts that way. And here's the math, and I made an extra $1,000 that way. It's like the math is just really easy to track.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I want the class to know, you'll see on the schedule, a guy named Warren Allen is going to be a guest speaker, and he is one of the top Google AdWords guys in the country. He works with a lot of small businesses on Google AdWords, and he does some Facebook stuff as well. So we will be able to really get into that in more detail. I think it's in a couple weeks. So kind of keep that in mind as well.
That's terrific. That's a great resource. And I'm sure you'll all learn a lot from that.
Yeah, he tells a real. I'll just tell the story real quick, Gene, because I think you'll appreciate it. So I think he's about 21 years old. He started working full time when he was 18 for a local gaming company, and really done really well. And he told us the story of his grandparents who have some kind of business out in a rural area outside of where East Carolina University, outside Greenville. And he started, and they don't have a website or anything, but he started running something called Google Business Ads, and he quadrupled the business of his grandparents' general store or whatever it was in about a 2-month period, even though they don't have a website or email or anything like it. But he really uses that as an example of the power that like Gina's suggestion. There's really some amazing opportunities that I personally never heard of. So there you go.
Yeah, and that's great. And the Google AdWords and Facebook advertising, and like I said, the links are at the bottom of the page we provided. It really is simple, and it's, if you play around with this stuff, especially the example I'm going to give is more about Facebook. You can do amazing targeting. I've helped people do targeting, like you can do this ring fence kind of thing where you could define a neighborhood. You could pick a town and say, I want to get to these neighborhoods, but not these neighborhoods for advertising, for example. And you can get almost to the street level of, and this lets you test things too. I want to advertise this message on the west side of town and this message on the east side of town, or whatever you want to do, and just play around with it. And it's so cheap. It's unbelievable how you can test this, and it's so cheap. And then you find out, in my earlier example, where I split 100 users into 2 groups of 50, you found out, okay, well, this message works better. Now I tested it across 2 groups of 50. Now I'll take my larger population of 1,000, and I'll go do the successful message across the whole 1,000. So, it really is inexpensive, and you can go then hit the whole town on Facebook ads with the bigger message, the more successful message. So I'd really encourage you to go take a look at those 2 links and play around with it. It's surprisingly inexpensive and surprisingly effective. And you can go, and again, you can experiment. Okay, I tried that, it didn't work quite right, so let me fine tune this piece and go from there.
Yeah, I think also, Gene was talking earlier about this testing, A/B testing, and there's a whole bunch of other ways you can do testing. But one of the things I think, particularly with Facebook advertising, you're often dealing with graphics, whether it's a video or it's a graphic of some kind, and our team can help everybody with that as well. We talked a little bit about that. We're going to do more on that. We're going to show you how to create short videos and create some content that can help in this. But that is one thing you'll find with Facebook. It tends to be, and Instagram also tends to be, much more graphical than the text that you see with Google AdWords, for example. So that's something to keep in mind also.
That's terrific that you can do that, because that just is more engaging, and it can also help you. Back to my point number 3, it can help you test your branding. I think if you can come up with an authentic brand that tells your story, and again, it could be personal, it could be about your product, it could be about your community, your region, or some historical concept, and then you can go test that. This piece worked, that piece didn't. Fine tune it, adjust it, keep testing. Wow, I got a better reaction this time. And then you stick with that. Because like I said earlier, people who are real pros at this, they don't get it right the first time. They may not get it right the second time. So you keep playing with it, and you'll know when you get it right, because you'll get a different reaction. So don't give up if it doesn't work the first time. You keep playing with it. And if you think about it, you'll come up with a lot of brands that are huge companies, but have sort of personal down home style to their brands. Nobody, and nobody says, well, that's not true. Nobody says that that's not authentic or that's unfair. These are companies that they started out small and they got big, and we know they're big, but we still identify with their sort of homespun brand. So,
Yeah.
it's okay for you to do the opposite of, you be a small business and create a much larger image. People do that all the time, and you can do that.
Yeah.
If that serves your purposes, you can do that.
I'm gonna show just real quick. This is only, I think, 30 seconds long. Hopefully this will work. This is some work we did with one of our classes to create this content. Let's see if I can play it. Hopefully I can. Let's see here. Isn't that terrible? It looks like this is the editor, but not the, well, anyway, I apparently don't have the expertise to show you how to do it. Let's try preview and see if that works. Sorry, can't see it. Anyway, the point of this is an AI tool that we have that enables you to take content from your website or your blog, and it will automatically create a video ad for you, and we'll pick the videos and pictures from stock photos if you don't have it on yours, and it's an amazing tool. And so we're going to have a class on that, but we can help you do some really cool stuff pretty easily. So
That sounds like a great tool.
yeah, it's called Lumen 5, Lumen 5. It's crazy. Now, we had one guy in our class, previous class, use it. This is a true story. Although he still has not given me the ad, I'm afraid to ask. He's a hemp farmer. He took the class and he decided to make a video ad, and he made the ad and he did a press release and he put it on his blog and he sent it to all of these newspapers in North Carolina to try to get coverage. And a bunch of them called him up and interviewed him, including people in Kansas, Iowa, Wisconsin, people growing hemp all over the country. And he was on the class. He took a moment in the class to just say, he goes, I don't know what the hell this stuff is, but it works like crazy. So, it was pretty funny. I keep asking him to send me the ad because I'm sure it's priceless, but either he's embarrassed or he keeps forgetting or whatever. But we will have that. We will have that for you. How to do that and how to how to get the word out also, because I think that's important. So that's coming up, I think, in either next week or the week after. So Gene is just ahead of me on a lot of this stuff. And does anyone else have anything else they'd like to ask Gene at this point?
Yeah, Dennis and Gene.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Hi, my name is Steve Weathers. I'm the president CEO of what we call the Greenville ENC Alliance. We're a little bit different in that we're an economic development organization. So we do some things like you talked about earlier, Gene, with geofencing. We're really here to brand Greenville, North Carolina, tell our story. So a couple of things. What I'd like to do is maybe set up a time with the two of you at some point, maybe talk a little bit more about what we do a little different. The other thing, and a lot more self-serving, is Maria Satira is on this call with me. She's my director of marketing communications. And one of the things we do is we push out a lot of stories about what's going on here, because when people think of Greenville, they think of Greenville SC, not Greenville NC. So we are trying to push some things out there. We have about 900 targeted companies in our database that we're calling on to inform them of our area. We have about 700 commercial realtors and site selectors. So really trying to take a lot of what you have here. I know it's for business, but I can kind of see translating that to what we do. So I guess my one question is, would you mind if I had Maria follow up with both of you and see if we can come up with some kind of I don't want to call it a press release, but a story about what's happening here and how you guys are engaged, maybe interview a couple of the businesses that are on here and push that out to the more of the national market.
Yeah, I'm happy to help.
Okay.
Hell yeah, Steve. Hell yeah.
Okay. And Gene, I agree with what you say. So I've only been in Greenville about a year. And before this, I had a previous position. I was CEO of an economic development group in Toledo, Ohio. And Toledo's a lot like Greenville. It's not a big city. It's not really, it's known but not known. So we did something unique. I created a for-profit venture capital fund. It wasn't big, only $20 million, but it wasn't that with venture. What the unique part was we were the economic development group that owned and operated it. So if Gene walked in the door, we could say, Gene, for your business, we can give you the traditional tax breaks and incentives on one side of our shop. And on the other side of the shop, we can invest money and raise capital. So our first deal was about a $7 million raise for a biotech company out of the University of Toledo. And the unique story was the reason I got national recognition. It had never been done before.
Yeah.
It was just that
Good
was
for
the
you.
unique-
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so we
Steve, I'm
branded
very,
it.
that is actually well known in venture capital circles. Gene, I don't know if you know Paul Holland, my friend from Silicon Valley, but he actually brought that up to me a year or so ago about, why don't you do something like that in Greenville, Dennis?
Yeah.
I said, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Paul. I'm just a small business guy. But anyway,
That's great.
Love to
So
follow
what
up
we
on
did,
that. Steve.
when we were there, we branded that Rocket Ventures because it's University of Toledo Rocket. So that got instant recognition. So I've talked to the chancellor here. If we were to do something like that, would we, it's the Pirates, would we basically brand it something like Pirate Ventures? And the idea, our fund was a AAA fund. We took small companies and got them prepared for big capital. So our exit was we basically wrung out all the risk. And then our exit was to really sell that to a bigger capital venture fund for A round capital. So again, the point was, it was just a unique story to tell for this small community. So that's what we're trying to do here.
That's a great accomplishment. That's I hope you can do it there. That's great.
Yeah. So if we
Hey,
can
Dennis.
tap you for a story, that would be great.
Yeah.
Hey, Dennis, this is
yes.
this
Go
is
ahead,
Rachel
sorry.
and Dan.
And the man. Yeah.
We're very interested in everything Steve and Jean are discussing. And if anything were to progress, we would love to be a part of it or to talk more.
What's your
Because-
name again? No. I got it. No problem. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any questions? Or Karen, what about your pecans? I think you're about to become a New York Yankee fan. Am I right? No way in hell. Okay. All right. Well, anybody else have anything they'd like to cover while we have Gene here? Gene, I just can't thank you enough for reaching out to our group and, bringing your creativity and your expertise to the table. It's just been really spectacular and really, really appreciate it.
Happy to help.
All right, everybody, same time, same station, not tomorrow, but Thursday. We're going to hear from Ben Knight, who many of you know from his PBS television show, A Chef's Life. He'll be our guest, and he's been working with all of our classes. He's a good friend of mine. He's actually a neighbor of mine. So he'll be our speaker on Thursday, and I think you'll get a lot out of Ben as well. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Thank
Take care.
you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.